Have you ever had that experience, the one where a distant relative decides to visit and then never leaves? They overstay their welcome, clutter your space with their belongings, and dominate every conversation with their opinions. Exhausted, you find yourself wishing they would just disappear. This, my friends, is a lot like mental chatter. It's that incessant voice in our heads, the one that never seems to quiet down. It's the endless stream of thoughts, worries, and to-do lists that cycle through our minds, often uninvited and unwelcome. Mental chatter can be exhausting. It can distract us from the present moment, keeping us trapped in a loop of past regrets and future anxieties. Like that unwelcome house guest, it can make us feel like we have no space to breathe, no peace of mind. Imagine trying to enjoy a beautiful sunset, the sky painted in hues of orange and pink, the waves gently lapping at the shore, or the serene view from a hilltop where the world seems to pause for a moment, while someone whispers anxieties in your ear. The worries about unfinished tasks, the fear of future uncertainties, and the echoes of past mistakes. Or attempting to savor a delicious meal, the flavors dancing on your tongue, the warmth of good company around you, as someone lists all the things you need to do tomorrow. The deadlines, the appointments, the endless to-do lists that seem to grow longer by the minute. This is the reality of living with constant mental chatter. It's like a radio that never turns off, a background noise that drowns out the present moment. It prevents us from fully experiencing the beauty and joy in our lives, the laughter of friends, the warmth of a hug, the simple pleasures that make life rich and meaningful. Mental chatter can also affect our sleep. As we lie in bed, our minds race with worries about work, relationships, and everything in between. We toss and turn, unable to find peace and rest. The clock ticks away, and with each passing minute, the anxiety grows. Instead of waking up refreshed, we feel drained and anxious, ready to face another day of mental noise. The cycle continues, leaving us exhausted and overwhelmed. This constant noise can impact our relationships, our work, and even our physical health. It creates a barrier between us and the people we care about. When we're trapped in our heads, we're not fully present in our lives. We miss out on the moments that matter, the connections that bring us joy and fulfillment. We miss out on meaningful connections and opportunities because our minds are elsewhere. The mental chatter pulls us away from the here and now, leaving us feeling isolated and disconnected. It's time to recognize the impact of this mental noise and take steps to quiet our minds. By doing so, we can reclaim our ability to be present, to truly engage with the world around us, and to find peace and joy in the simple moments of life. So how do we escape this cycle of mental noise? The answer, surprisingly, is not to ignore it. Trying to silence the chatter only makes it louder. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It will inevitably pop back up with even more force. The key is to acknowledge the chatter. Recognize that it's there, but don't engage with it. Observe your thoughts without judgment, like clouds passing through the sky. Notice them, and then let them go. This simple act of awareness can be incredibly powerful. When we label our thoughts as thinking or worrying, we create a separation between ourselves and the chatter. We realize that we are not our thoughts, and we don't have to believe everything our minds tell us. Now, let's delve deeper into the workings of our minds. Just as we have physical structures like houses and bridges, we also have mental structures called mental models. These are our internal representations of the world, our beliefs about how things work, and our expectations of ourselves and others. Our mental models are shaped by our experiences, upbringing, and cultural background. They act as filters through which we interpret information and make decisions. They can be incredibly helpful, providing us with frameworks for understanding complex situations. However, our mental models can also limit our perspectives. Because they are based on our past experiences, they may not always reflect the current reality. They can lead to biases, assumptions, and misunderstandings that can create conflict and unhappiness in our lives. Section 5, Vasila's traffic jam, a model example. Let's consider a common scenario. Imagine you're driving through the city during rush hour. The streets are packed with cars, and everyone seems to be in a hurry to get somewhere. The frustration in the air is almost palpable. Vasila is stuck in traffic, already running late for an important meeting. She keeps glancing at her watch, feeling the pressure mounting with every passing minute. Suddenly, a car cuts her off, forcing her to slam on the brakes. Anger surges through her. Her heart races and she grips the steering wheel tightly. "What a jerk!" she thinks. Her mind races with thoughts of how inconsiderate and selfish the other driver must be. "He has no consideration for anyone else," she mutters to herself, gesturing angrily. Her frustration is evident and she can't help but feel personally attacked by the other driver's actions. This is a classic example of a mental model at work. Our brains are wired to make quick judgments based on past experiences and limited information. Vasila's past experiences with inconsiderate drivers have led her to believe that the person who cut her off is intentionally being rude. She recalls similar incidents where drivers acted selfishly, reinforcing her belief. But what if there's another explanation? What if the situation isn't as black and white as it seems? What if the other driver is a distraught father rushing his sick child to the hospital? His mind is preoccupied with worry, and he didn't even notice cutting her off. Or maybe he just received some life-altering news and is distracted. Perhaps he got a call that changed everything, and now he's struggling to keep it together. We often don't know the full story, yet we jump to conclusions based on our limited perspectives and pre-existing mental models. It's a natural human tendency, but it can lead to misunderstandings and unnecessary stress. By considering alternative explanations and practicing empathy, we can break free from these mental models. The next time you find yourself in a similar situation, take a moment to pause and reflect. You might find that the world is more complex and nuanced than it first appears. Section 6. The choice is yours, choosing your emotional response. This brings us to a crucial point. We have a choice in how we respond to situations. Every day we encounter numerous scenarios that test our emotional resilience and our ability to stay calm and composed. Whether it's a minor inconvenience or a major life event, our emotional response can significantly impact our well-being and the outcome of the situation. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to default to anger, frustration, or judgment. These emotions can arise almost instantaneously, driven by our instinctual fight or flight response. When someone cuts us off in traffic or when a colleague makes a snide remark, our immediate reaction might be to lash out or harbor resentment. But we can choose a different path. By taking a moment to pause and breathe, we can interrupt the automatic emotional response and give ourselves the space to choose a more constructive reaction. This pause is a powerful tool that allows us to shift from a reactive state to a more thoughtful and intentional one. Instead of reacting with anger, Vasila could choose compassion. Compassion involves understanding and empathy, recognizing that everyone has their own struggles and challenges. By choosing compassion, Vasila not only diffuses her own anger, but also creates a more positive and harmonious environment. She could consider that the other driver might be experiencing a difficult situation. Perhaps they are rushing to an emergency or dealing with personal issues that are affecting their behavior. This perspective allows Vasila to extend grace and understanding rather than escalating the situation with anger. This shift in perspective doesn't excuse the other driver's actions, but it allows Vasila to maintain her own inner peace and avoid unnecessary suffering. By choosing a compassionate response, she protects her mental and emotional well-being, fostering a sense of inner calm and resilience. We often forget that we have this choice. In the rush of daily life, it's easy to get caught up in our automatic reactions and forget that we have the power to choose how we respond. This forgetfulness can lead to a cycle of negative emotions and reactions that perpetuate stress and conflict. We feel like our emotions are beyond our control, that we are victims of circumstance. This sense of helplessness can be overwhelming, making it seem like we are at the mercy of external events and other people's actions. However, this is a misconception that we can challenge and change. But by becoming aware of our mental models and the thoughts that trigger our emotions, we can start to choose our responses more consciously. Reflecting on our experiences, journaling, and practicing mindfulness can help us identify patterns in our reactions and develop strategies to respond more thoughtfully. This awareness empowers us to break free from automatic responses and cultivate a more intentional and compassionate way of being. Section 7. A universe of one, the limits of self-centeredness. Our mental models often lead us to live in what I call a self-centered universe. We become so focused on our own problems, our own needs, and our own perspectives that we lose sight of the bigger picture. Imagine for a moment that you're standing on a small island in the middle of a vast ocean. The island represents your self-centered universe. From this limited vantage point, it's easy to believe that your island is the center of everything, but what lies beyond the horizon? What other islands, continents, and wonders exist that we can't even fathom from our limited perspective? When we cling to our self-centered universes, we miss out on the richness and interconnectedness of life. Section 8. Beyond our bubble, expanding our perspective. To truly master our minds, we need to venture beyond the confines of our self-centered universes. We need to cultivate a wider perspective, one that recognizes our interconnectedness with all beings. Just as Galileo challenged the prevailing belief that the Earth was the center of the universe, we must challenge the notion that our individual needs and desires are paramount. When we shift our focus from me to we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. This doesn't mean neglecting our own needs or becoming doormats for others. It simply means recognizing that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. By contributing to a cause greater than ourselves, we find a sense of purpose and belonging that transcends our individual lives. Section 9. Finding freedom, the power of a larger purpose. When we dedicate ourselves to a larger purpose, our problems often seem smaller and less significant. We develop a sense of perspective and resilience that allows us to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. Imagine a group of people working together to build a bridge. Each person has their own individual tasks and challenges, but they are united by a common goal. Their individual efforts contribute to something much greater than themselves. This is the power of collective action and shared purpose. When we focus on something bigger than ourselves, we tap into a source of strength and inspiration that can transform our lives and the lives of those around us. Section 10. Mastering your mind. A journey of awareness. Mastering your mind is not about achieving a state of perfect stillness or silencing your thoughts entirely. It's about developing a conscious awareness of your mental chatter and the mental models that shape your perceptions. It's about recognizing that you have a choice in how you respond to the world around you. It's about choosing compassion over judgment, understanding over assumption, and connection over isolation. I invite you to embark on this journey of self-discovery. Pay attention to your thoughts, question your assumptions, challenge your limiting beliefs, and above all, choose to live a life guided by purpose, compassion, and a deep appreciation for the interconnectedness of all things.